So I want to talk about this saying, come out of Babylon, come out of Babylon. I hear a lot of people that's not from the United States of America or that's just not from the West, the Western world, like say specifically Africa, Jamaica, places like that, or just the Caribbean, that call the Western world Babylon. And so they say Babylon, I hear a person say Babylon, US, Babylon, whatever types of Western worlds, right? Western countries. And so I was always thinking when I would hear these people say that, is that where your political leaders in these Caribbean nations or at the continent of Africa, a lot of your political leaders are taking a big slice of the devil's pie. So basically, you are involved in Babylon too, even though you are in Africa, even though you are in Jamaica, even though you are like for me, I always saw Babylon as something spiritual. I never just saw Babylon as something that's a physical place, even though some physical places it might be best to get away from because sometimes the Most High just tells you to get away from certain places. That's just how it is. Sometimes things can come up where an opportunity might come up and say, okay, I'm going to go here, or you might just be displaced to get away from there. Sometimes happens like that. Okay, but I always saw Babylon as something spiritual because relocating to Africa might not be safe. I know a lot of Africans say, and this is not and I'm gonna say this something I heard this African lady say. She's from Kenya. I like the way she say Babylon better, but like like I hear a lot of Africans or Jamaicans or whoever say, or just people from the Caribbean, people that's not from the Western world, that's not originally from there. Um, Talk about Babylon just being those worlds and Babylon and come out of Babylon. So if you come out of the U.S., you come out of either the other Western countries, and you go to Africa, are you going to be safe there? I want to say there's a lot of black women that have been murdered in the Gambia. Okay. So what I'm saying is it's not always about Babylon is not necessarily about a physical location, even though I think Babylon has been described as maybe US or whatever. But I feel like it's also spiritual. And what I want to say is I was listening to this lady, and she's Kenyan. Okay, she's in Kenya. And she was talking about Babylon, talking about coming out of Babylon. But I like the way she said it better. She said Babylon coming out doesn't necessarily mean moving away. It doesn't necessarily mean moving away. It just means raising your frequency to a point where you don't align with a lot of the crazy stuff that's about to come. That's basically what come out of Babylon means. Now, to her, and that's what it means to me too. I never felt like it meant moving somewhere because a lot of bad things have happened to people who go a lot of different places that might not be considered. Mexico is not considered Babylon either, but it's a lot of things, crazy things happen over there. Colombia might not be considered Babylon either, but it's a lot of bad things that happen over there. Okay, so I'm glad that she said that because I would see certain things just kind of annoy me that people say as if their places just because it's not the Western world, doesn't make their place any safer to be, because a lot of their leaders are in the pie, in the pockets, right, of these other Babylonian leaders. Okay, if I'm saying that correctly, I hope I'm not saying that the wrong way. Anyway, they take deals and stuff from the Babylonian leaders, uh, and so that makes their areas Babylon too. Okay, Honduras might not be the safest place. I mean, you can do a little bit more as far as the curing and stuff like that and the natural foods, and you won't get attacked by the government because of big pharma over there. But at the same time, as a whole, it's dangerous over there. It's just something everywhere. That's what I'm saying. So you can go to somewhere else thinking, okay, this is not the Babylon US or Babylon UK or Babylon wherever, but it's still dangerous. I mean, a lot of women still get raped. A lot of bad things really happen. So basically, that's why I say I appreciate the way she explained it. That it's not necessarily about moving, unless you're really in an area that's dangerous. It's not necessarily about moving, but raising your frequency to a point where you just will not be in alignment with those things that are to come. Okay, and she was talking about Trump 50 billion, wasn't that 500 billion Stargate, $500 billion Stargate project. Yeah. So you just can't be in alignment with them. But I want to talk about this. It's a spiritual war going on. So even when you try to raise your frequency, there are going to be some resistance to you. So to some people raising their frequency, there is going to be some resistance to it. So I feel like you know how somebody say your prayers have to be violent. You know, let me say, I'm not against the Bible. I'm not against prayer. I still say it's a living word. It has been copied and pasted. It came from a lot of stuff came from matriarchy. That's just what it is, and so it's still a living word, and I still use it. Okay, even though I know a lot of things have been changed over to the patriarchal, to the masculine, it still can be. It's still very much useful. Still very much useful. And so, the saying that your prayers have to be violent. Some people have it harder trying to really raise like they want to because they have an enemy that keep trying to bring them down. Yeah, it's your shadow, but it's what else is going on? What created your shadow? What created it? And it's like um I know when I go within, I'm constantly seeing stuff that's going on in the inner world. Like even the minute I clean something out, then it's getting messed up again, and I clean it out again, it's getting dirty again, making it impossible to raise my frequency. So now what's going to happen for me is wherever this is coming from, I'm going to have to target them and terminate them. Like at this point, I'm terminating because I can't. It's not just about me raising the frequency. I need to see what's deep going on because it's not just about me raising minding my own business and trying to raise my frequency. Some things need to be terminated, and especially for brown women, something is deep within that's wanting to prevent you from raising your frequency. And I know I mentioned the shadow is your shadow, but what's going on with the shadow? Why is the shadow doing it? It seems like the shadow was programmed to do some things. And when you try to reprogram yourself and reprogram your mind and do all this stuff, it seems like you're still a target for some kind of attack. Something else is going on. Okay, and so for some people, you got to be you got to go beyond just wanting to raise your frequency. Some entities need to be targeted and terminated in order for you to move on, because you have some enemies that don't want to allow you to rise up. you know but with that being said, that's it, and I will talk later.